All right, folks. Micah Roquiero here, Mr. Utah Real Estate, coming at you again with another podcast today. Got my good friend Derek Kiranti.
What up? You did great.
I got it. Kiranti.
You did well. You did well, Roquiero.
So if you watched our last podcast, we did five pros of living in Utah. Today we're going to cover some of the cons of living in Utah. Not a ton of them, but there's some cons.
There are some. We experienced one coming here today.
So we'll get into the cons today. But before we do that, if you guys wouldn't mind, subscribe to the channel, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, give us a comment, let us know what you think on this. Much appreciated. So let's get into it.
Whether it's good or bad. Oh,
yeah, we want to hear everything.
Hang on. Before we get started, I promised somebody that I would do this. I need to print a retraction without actually printing it. You remember last episode how we were talking about the temple being jacked up and moved?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, apparently I got my information from an unreliable source. They did jack up the temple. The person who called me out on it, they were freaking out. They were like, the temple would fall down if they did that. So I just want to say right now, I sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart for any distress or any sleepless nights I might have caused you for the misinformation that I was spreading. So they didn't move the temple 20 feet like I was saying. However, they did reinforce the foundation. That's what they're doing. And they're going to dig down 85 feet, I believe. And they're going to put 3 stories underneath the temple. So that's almost just as crazy as rolling at 20 feet, right?
That's probably even harder to do, I would think.
No kidding. Can you imagine those guys? They're going to be under there like doing their stuff, and they're going to be looking up, and the temple's right above them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to work.
Well, being in real estate, there are homes, the older homes, 100-year-old homes, the ones that were built long time ago. And actually, we just sold one up in Ogden, where the basement was like 6-7 foot ceiling. So, if you're a big guy, you got to walk around and make sure you don't bonk your head on those vents or anything. But they do, if you've got the money, you can dig out those basements and give it some more space. So
yeah, my dad the house he grew up in Ogden, Utah, kind of by Utah Noodle. I don't know if you know where that is or not.
Yeah.
Utah Noodle. They closed it down. I was sorely disappointed when we moved back here, and I was like, we got to go to Utah Noodle, and it was closed. But anyway, my dad's basement, I remember when I was a kid going down in that basement, and I had to crouch down as a kid. So people were short back in the day.
Yeah.
Who knows? Why do you think they were so short?
Maybe there wasn't those supersized meals. No, that's fat.
Oh, well,
that's me.
I'm talking about tall, not wide.
Yeah. Well, they did widen hallways too.
They did.
More accessible for.
Did you hear about that overweight influencer who wants all airplanes to widen the aisles, so they have to redesign all the airplanes? Now she wants them to redesign all the hotels and make the hallways wider in the hotel.
I support that.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean,
just don't charge me a bunch of money now.
Yeah, it's not my money that's going to have to do it. But what if they said, yeah, it's just a little bit in your tax dollars? Then what would you say?
Well, no, it's going to be, if I ever want to fly or stay in that hotel, it's going to be a crazy amount of money.
And they want like 5 people to walk arm in arm, side by side down the hall.
Yeah, well, I do hate those small seats, the airplanes. But I am a bigger guy, but that's not the airplane's fault. That's my fault.
That's what I'm saying. But
anyway, let's get to it. So 5 cons of living in Utah. So on my list, the number one I have is the Mormon dominance here. Now, I do love the Mormons, and we were both raised Mormon, and we grew up, learning the Great Valleys and that. But sometimes, how they say you don't mix church and state, right?
No, except here.
Yeah, so that can happen here in Utah. You do mix church and state, and a lot of the church beliefs and followings get put into our laws.
Well, my stepdad, God rest his soul, he used to tell me, do you know why the church office building sits higher than the Capitol dome?
Why is that?
Because all the church members are looking down on the legislatures going, you better do what we say. And that's pretty much true. That's true.
Well, a lot of the legislators here are LDS Mormons, so
they certainly are. They certainly are. And they have their pros and cons in that church as well. I don't know if we want to get into all that.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, it's a whole lot, but in my opinion, I mean, your beliefs is your beliefs, my beliefs is my beliefs, and I don't like to mix that into my lifestyle. And sometimes the church dominance and its rules will mix into my lifestyle, and it's not a good thing for me. Like I said, I grew up Mormon. I haven't gone to church in a very long time. It's been a while; it just wasn't my thing.
I would probably catch fire if I walked into a church.
Yeah, I mean,
Like a Catholic church, I'd stick my finger in the holy water and it'd start. You ever seen The Devil's Advocate where it starts boiling? That's probably what would happen if
I've always wanted to be a vampire. The holy water would.
we try and see if you are, go into a church.
I've been into churches, and I still go to the churches, and I haven't caught on fire, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I probably wouldn't either. I'm just talking smack.
But anyway, so one of our cons of living here is that the Mormon dominance in the state and a lot of the laws that are passed here. If you like a very conservative state, this is a very conservative state with a lot of church values built into the state and into the laws here.
Yeah. That's going into the next one.
That is actually leading into our next one.
Number 2, alcohol laws.
Yeah.
So for a while, there wasn't even a member on the alcohol board for the entire state who even drank alcohol.
Crazy, huh?
That's why at the liquor stores here, they have like a lottery. We have such and such brand in. We're gonna take the first 10 people who come in and I don't know, do backflips and do cartwheels, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Why don't you guys just go over to Wendover? Go to Lee's Liquor. They got everything you possibly need."
It was. I mean, for a while, it was 3.5% in the beer content, alcohol beer content. And
I remember that. I started laughing so hard when that was a news story. Why don't you tell about it? Go ahead.
Well, for forever since I've lived here, it's always been a lower alcohol content in the beers, and to get anything of a higher content, you had to go to the state liquor stores.
We had to drive to Evanston to get St. Ides when I was a kid.
Yeah, so it was. They didn't even sell, even at the liquor store, you couldn't really get a higher percent. Like if you wanted like a regular like Miller or Coors or something like that, it was 3.5%. If you wanted a 5%, it is what they finally changed it down to 5%. We would have to go up into Idaho or Wyoming to get those. A little bit of a drive. They don't sell kegs here either, so you had to go to Wyoming to get a keg if you ever wanted a keg. And as a young man, we used to do little keg parties every now and then. But yeah, we had to smuggle our alcohol from Wyoming.
You know what though? If you were a manufacturer of Zion curtains, you would be rich.
Well, not
me either. Yeah, we used to go over into Evanston and we'd go get fireworks. And then we would get St. Ides, 40s, malt liquor. What was the other one? King Cobra. We used to get the King Cobra 40s. I'm sure you guys did those too.
We did kegs. If we went to Wyoming, it was a keg.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we weren't doing all that. We got the 40s and did the shotguns with like the 2-liter bottles, where you pour it in and you're like, yeah, woof. And then you have to burp a lot right after because you just downed a whole 40. You're like, I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, when you were younger, you could do that. I can't do that anymore.
I hate beer, just to be honest with you guys. I'm a whiskey guy now.
I'm a whiskey guy too, but I love my beers too.
Yeah, I don't
beer.
know. I can't be with you guys there. I'll drink my whiskey.
But they did finally change that, so now it is a normal 5%. I think it is on there. It's the nationwide standard now. And
about 2 years ago, they announced on the news that they finally got somebody on the board who drinks.
So they did pass that. They did pass that DUI law, the driving under the influence, as well. Where normal it was 0.08%.
Yeah.
And they switched it over to 0.05, I think it was.
0.05. That's like one glass of wine.
Yeah, so that's a little bit.
That's like 3% beer. Like,
I heard. I don't know if this is true or not, so maybe you guys can fact check me on this. There was a state legislator who was pro alcohol laws and that, and he, I think from what I heard, he took a shot of mouthwash, rinsed his mouth with mouthwash, blew into the breathalyzer, and blew a 0.05. Just for mouthwash.
See, legislatures, gosh.
That's what I heard.
Before you guys
let me know if that's true.
Go passing these stupid laws, like try them out.
Yeah, but not only the alcohol content, most states, you can go to the grocery store and buy a bottle of tequila, right? Or a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Not here.
When Ann and I first moved here, we went to, I think we were in Walmart. We were looking all over Walmart. And finally we went up to one of the workers and I said, "Can you tell me where your wine is?" And she was like, "You're in Utah." And I was like, Oh yeah,
No
that's
wine
right.
at Walmart.
That is right. No wine at Walmart.
Yeah, not even the grocery stores. You can only buy the beers in the little. I guess they're the hard seltzers now. Used to be wine coolers, but now
Yeah,
they call them hard seltzers. But that's it at the grocery store. Anything of a higher content, you got to go to the state liquor store.
and enter the lottery.
I don't know. There's no lottery.
Oh my god.
You can walk into a regular liquor store and buy your liquor, but it's just a little bit of an inconvenience.
For the cool stuff though, for the cool stuff, they don't have some stuff. They don't have a lot of stuff like Lee's Liquor in Wendover.
Yeah, so a nice part of living here in Salt Lake City too is we're about a 2 hours drive up into Idaho, about an hour and a half over into Evanston, Wyoming. So we can go to those places and
Hour and a half.
pick
to
up some of the
Wendover.
the stuff you can't find over here. But each liquor store is a little bit different too. Like you can buy a certain kind of whiskey at one liquor store and they don't have it at another one. So you got to download the app. If you got the app, download the app. You can find exactly where your favorite liquor is at and which liquor store carries it.
Yeah, Lee's Liquor carries them all.
Yeah, these liquors in
Wendover.
Wendover.
Yep.
So
Lee,
Nevada. We go over
if
to
you're-
Nevada as well.
If you're listening, I better get a commission. Just kidding.
So we got Wendover, Nevada, about an hour and a half's drive. We
Yeah.
got Evanston, Wyoming, about an hour and a half's drive.
Yep.
And then the closest Idaho is Malad, where you can also get the lottery tickets over there too,
My laddie.
which is a little under 2 hours to get there. And we'll take our trips up there just to grab some lottery tickets and check it out. But
I've done that once, and then when I got there, I realized how dumb I felt because there was a line like this is a few years ago, and my sister-in-law went with me, and we were like, yeah, hopefully we win. We got there was a line like around the building and like winding around inside the building, and it was crazy because everyone was like, congrats, good luck. And I looked at everyone when I got my ticket and I said, don't wish me luck because I hope I beat all you guys. Like, what are you guys wishing each other luck for? Like, come on now.
well, that line was probably what was up in the $1 billion range. The lottery.
Close. Yeah, this was a few years ago. And then I don't even know how much money I wasted on that, but then we didn't win anything. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not really a gambler or a lottery guy because you don't win. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, odds are you're not going to win. Pretty good odds you're not going to win. But hey, it's fun to wish,
And
to dream.
and all those people who win the lottery and then end up broke again or dead because they overdosed on, they bought like 50 pounds of meth. Oh my God, I'm rich. I can buy meth now.
For me, I wouldn't buy meth. It'd be strippers for me. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I take care of my family is what I do. I get them all strippers.
Well, no, I would hire a stripper to train my wife to be a stripper for me. See, there you go. There you go,
Yeah,
honey.
There you go.
Not getting in trouble.
That's all right. My wife wants to go check out strippers too. She's never been to a strip club.
You're not missing much.
And that's another thing about Utah. We don't have really good strip clubs here either. If you're into that, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I'm not really into that either because the ones here in Utah, kind of trashy actually. Like, yuck.
So
I would need a shot after I came out of that place. A shot of what? I have no idea,
Well,
but I would need a shot.
I mean,
of
that's a lot of strip clubs are like that. Like, ooh, geez, really? Oof.
like if you could take a black, like think if you like wore a suit with black lights all over it and you walked in there and it looked like a murder scene, I'd be like, holy crap! I am not going any further.
Yeah. So that's our Utah alcohol stories here.
Yeah.
So not the best. I mean, you can still get everything you need. You can still do it, just a little bit different process of getting it.
If you want to get drunk and get sick, you can still do that.
And the clubs close at 2:00, but they do last call like 1:00.
Yeah. Yeah. They're moving on up.
Yeah. Oh, but back in Hawaii, Vegas is 24 hours over
And
there.
Vegas never closes. You got guys hanging on at like 4:00 in the morning thinking they're gonna get lucky,
Well,
and the girl's like, "Well, I'm gonna go home now."
And Hawaii was 4:00 in the morning too when we lived in Hawaii. So the clubs closed down at 4:00. But yeah, over here they close down a little bit earlier, and they do last call at 1:00, and they stop selling beers in the grocery stores and I don't know. Is it still? They stopped selling at 2:00. I don't. When I was younger, I used to always go at 2:00 and get the last haul of beer for the party. But
I can't honestly tell you because at 2:00 in the morning on any day of the week, I'm in bed.
yeah,
I'm sleeping.
used to be able to stay up till 2:00.
Yeah, I used to be able to pull an all-nighter and then go to work for 12 hours the next day.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes I think I'm still young and I try to hit that 2:00 hour, and
No. I barely make it to New Year's Eve. The apple dropping.
Right.
Sheesh.
Half the room's already passed out.
Whoever's watching this and you're young, enjoy the youngness while you can, because once you get old, like if I sit too long, my knees hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm old.
Yeah, enjoy the energy. Take care of your body too.
Yeah, take care of your body. Don't pull all-nighters and get messed up and then go to work and then pull another all-nighter.
Unless you're a rock star.
Well, look at those guys now. Lord have mercy.
Well, look at Rolling Stones. They're still kicking. They're in their 80s and they're still freaking... I think they quit drinking though.
You know what? When Keith Richards dies, I hope he gets cremated and he like sells his ashes, because I would smoke some of his ashes. You would get messed up, yo.
Dude, you get pretty messed up smoking ashes.
You would get messed up smoking his ashes.
Well,
like
maybe you can snort it too. Huh?
I have no, maybe you could probably do everything with his ashes. You'd get everything, you know.
I wonder how much that would cost if someone actually did that.
I don't know. I'd probably pay maybe two ounces of his ashes to smoke. I would probably pay like, I don't know, $200.
Yeah, I'll stick to the natural stuff.
That is natural. What's more natural than ashes?
That is pretty natural.
Bones, you know, but it's not just bones. We're talking about Keith Richards here. Like, I'm surprised he is still alive. Like, he's got something up in his back propping him up. I don't even know if he's still around. Really.
Maybe he's a clone.
You know what? That's possible. Very possible.
So anyway, alcohol laws. That's our number. That was our number 2 con of living here. Number 3 is our air quality issues. Wintertime. Have you ever heard of the inversion?
What's that?
Yeah, the inversion. So wintertime, there's an inversion here. We live between 2 mountain ranges, and a lot of the pollution will get trapped between those 2 mountain ranges because of, what is it, colder air up top or warmer air up top, and it traps that other air into the valleys, and we get that inversion. They call it the inversion. The smog gets trapped in the valley.
Did you ever do when you were young and you were smoking doob? Did you guys ever do like what they call frosty mugs? You guys ever do that?
I had a A&W's frosty.
Well, you get like a beer
root
mug.
beer float.
Yeah, you get like the beer mug and you freeze it, right? And then you're smoking like a blunt or a joint. This is an adult show, so who cares?
You did this in
in
Nevada, right? Not in Utah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, in Nevada. Yeah. I used to do this all the time in Nevada. But you take your joint and you flip it around. You know how you give somebody a shotgun like that? Well, you blow that smoke down into that frosty mug and the smoke just sits there, just hangs out, and you tip it up and you're like that. That's a frosty mug. So that's what it's like if you can picture.
Bad cop.
A bad cop, whatever, you know. Whoever's listening to this, I'm sure y'all have partaken before.
Well, I mean, we could actually, if you are a partaker of the marijuana, Utah is not yet recreational. So we could actually tie that into the alcohol laws. We'll do that real quick into the alcohol laws. Like, we're not a recreational state. We are a medical use state. Personally, I'm a believer in your free choice to do what you want, as long as you're not hurting anybody. It's your choice, you know, and I believe, my personal belief is, no one can tell me what I can and can't do with my life, as long as I'm not hurting anybody.
I do what I want.
Do what I want. But anyway, so that's, we tied that into the alcohol laws. We're not a recreational state. The states around us are, except for Idaho. Nevada is, Colorado is, well, the 2 on the right and left side, the east and west of us, there's
everyone around us is. You got Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada.
Not Idaho.
Not Idaho. Not Wyoming.
I'm not sure about Arizona.
Oh, yeah, Arizona.
Arizona right underneath
Arizona
us.
for sure. Yeah, you remember our friend that lives there? She lives right down the street from a dispensary.
Yes.
That would be so great.
Everyone around us, they get recreational use. We haven't got there yet. And I was actually surprised when they did pass the medical use that it was allowed here. I was surprised that actually happened. So it does look like there are people waking up to, let people be people. Let them do their thing.
Well, and not only that, people don't just smoke weed to get like high and messed up and go to the moon, Some people actually need it.
Yeah, there's medicinal purposes for it.
And so I think that's great that the state legislature actually made that possible. And actually, they didn't make it possible. The people voted for that.
Right.
Do you remember right after?
That's why I said I was surprised when it passed. I was like, wow.
Well, it passed
here in Utah. It
passed recreationally. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, and then they killed it. Huh? Someone killed it.
Yeah. Here's how the state legislature works here. They say, okay, yeah. It's already legal medically, but it's on the ballot to make it legal recreationally. And guess what? Like every state where it's on the ballot, everyone voted to make it legal. And the state legislature stepped in. I can't remember who it was exactly, but they stepped in and said, nope, not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And I was like, okay, well then what's the point of voting? If you guys are just going to step in and say, yeah, no.
You got to vote him out, whoever that was.
I can't remember who it was, but you can look it up. I'm not going to make any misstatements again because I don't want to have to apologize to
Look it
anyone.
up. Fact check us. Leave it in the comments.
For any sleepless nights.
Anything we say, fact check us, please. Put it in the comments.
Fact check us. Tell us we're lying. Whatever.
Or add to the story. Tell us your stories.
I'll try and do better from now on. I will try and do better.
Back to number 3. Our number 3 con, the air quality issue. So yeah, like we said, we have the inversion that happens here in the valley.
When Ann and I moved back here from Virginia, I saw what the inversion was like, and I was like, what the heck is this? And I was like, because I came out one day and it was like, it smelled really funky. And I was like, Ann's like, can you smell the inversion? I was like, it smells like the refinery. And my mom said, oh no, it's not the refinery. It's not. That's all the people driving here. And I was like, really? On a cold day in the morning before anyone's even driving, you look across the valley and you can see the smoke coming up from the refineries, and you can follow that cloud all the way over across the valley down to the point of the mountain all the time. And it smells just like that place. So when I was a kid, I don't think the inversions were so bad because there was only one refinery there.
Yeah, I don't remember inversions when I was younger, but I really didn't pay attention to it either.
I mean, the traffic wasn't bad, but there was only one refinery over there. They built another one like right next to it. Apparently they added on to it. Fact check me on that one, please. I don't want any more sleepless nights. But it smells just like the refinery. Don't you think?
I don't know what a refinery smells like.
It smells like that.
But it does stink. It doesn't smell good.
It smells like the inversion.
And if you've got respiratory issues, it does mess with you.
It does mess with you. Like when it's like that, I don't let the kids go outside. I don't like to go outside. I kind of hack some stuff up, not to get gross or anything. But if you're new to Utah and you can afford it, move up to Park City.
Yeah, so there is you'll go as you go up the mountains, you'll get above that inversion. And you can actually look down into the inversion.
Yeah,
when you're up at the topper elevations in the mountains,
and it's so thick, you look like you cut it.
There's times I wake up in the morning and I look out the window, and my window views. I've got windows from on both the east and the west side, and I can see the mountain ranges on both sides. There's times I wake up in the morning and I can't see those mountain ranges.
That's how you know.
Yeah,
that's how you know.
Unfortunately,
when it gets super cold.
And we need to figure out a way to get that cleaned up. But they're working on it. But Jesus, it's a big thing to solve.
This year, it's going to be even worse. 17% growth last year.
Yeah. Well, honestly, last year I didn't think it was too bad last year.
No, but now everyone's in and settled.
Because there was winters where it got pretty bad, and then last winter it was kind of mild. So
I think a lot of people were still working from home last year too.
Well, I think a lot of it too is we got a lot of snow last year too, and the snow, when the snow comes down, it does clean that air out. It does, if we get some winds picking up, it'll clear it out. But
you know what my idea is? We can build lots of stuff, right? So my idea is to build a huge tube that goes straight up, very high. I don't know how high, hundreds of feet high, with a huge blower on it. So when the inversion happens, it just sucks all that stuff up and blows it out way up into the atmosphere and gets it out of here.
Big ass blower.
It would have to be. Maybe, a few of them just across the Wasatch Front, these big old tubes like
That'd be crazy.
Pumping everything out. They'd be like, everyone's like, what's that sound? Oh, it's the inversion blowers.
Yeah. Well,
that would work.
Design it, be a millionaire.
I'm stupid. I can't design anything.
We'll talk to Elon Musk. Maybe he can help you out.
I have the idea. I can't get into all the equations and all that crap, what it takes to engineer one of those things.
Yeah, so if you got respiratory issues, winter times are a little tough for people. You got to stay indoors a lot.
In northern Utah.
Well,
in southern Utah?
Yeah.
St. George, they don't have the inversion.
Well, it's the Salt Lake Valley, basically.
Logan kind of gets an inversion too.
Do they?
A little bit. Not as bad as here, obviously, because there are refineries, and that's the reason for them.
Salt Lake metro area, I should say. So from Ogden to Provo.
Yeah. From about Lagoon, a little past Lagoon up, you don't get the inversion. My mom doesn't get that up in Clearfield.
So start heading up north, you'll drive out of it. Start heading down south towards Provo. What about Lehigh? Maybe American Fork area.
You'll drive out of it.
You'll get out of it. But Yeah, so that's one of the issue that we have here. And even when I was younger, I never noticed it. I never felt it. I was young. I had a great body. My
'Cause it
lungs work
wasn't
great. But now I notice it. Like I'll get up and I'll start coughing and
it wasn't here.
like, am
That's
I
why.
getting sick? No, it's the inversion again.
It wasn't here. That's why everyone's trying to gaslight us into thinking, oh, it's always been here. No, I'm sorry. It has not.
So,
In my opinion.
so let's move on to the next one. Our number 4 con of living here, and this depends on the type of person you are too. We do have weather extremes. We'll get into the winter time and it will get down below 0 at times.
Yeah.
We'll get a lot of snow. You have to dig that out. We'll get.
Oh my gosh. Last year,
Last year we got hit pretty good with the
I
snow.
wanted to punch my own face last year. Remember, it was like we got snow and then more snow. And like it was so deep in my front yard. And then it was like sun started coming out. Remember that week?
Yeah.
And it was so warm and everything melted. And I was like, finally. And I put the snow blower away. You got to have a snow blower too, by the way, if you live here.
Especially if you have a big old
unless you want to get
driveway like I do.
unless you want to get a hernia or have a heart attack shoveling snow. But I put it all away and everything and then went to bed one night, woke up, and there was just as much that had just melted off, like 2 or 3 feet overnight. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
With as much snow as we got last winter, I was actually happy about that. I liked it because we have been going through a drought. Many of the western states are going through droughts.
Yeah. It's all cyclical.
Yeah, so we got a ton of snow last winter, which if you're not a snow person,
there were 4-wheel drive trucks getting stuck right in front of my house.
Yes, the house where I live, it's a little bit of a hill coming up into the cul-de-sac, and if you don't got good tires on there and there's snow, you can't even make it up the road in our neighborhood.
That's funny. People are like, I can't make it to your house. Can you come pick me up down at the beginning of the neighborhood?
My neighbor, he has a truck too, and he got stuck coming up I think it was only 2-wheel drive, must have been. I had to pull out my little 4-wheel drive SUV, and I towed him up our little road to his house.
And he had a 4-wheel drive Chevy.
Well, I don't know. I think it was a Chevy, actually.
I don't like Chevys. They're like a rock. Like they say, it's like a rock. They just sit there.
I'm a Chevy guy.
I'm sorry.
Bad cop.
I'm sorry. I'm a Ford guy. Did you see the latest Ford commercials?
Don't pay attention to commercials.
Well, I don't either, but because usually they're a bunch of bull crap. But Ford, you should watch their latest commercial. They start talking about Americans and how they've been around forever. And then they say, we are all in on America. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about right now. And then now, you know what they
go
have?
buy a Ford.
Yeah. I mean, sheesh, go buy a Ford. They're all in on America, guys.
Even though most of them are made overseas.
Well, no, they're still made here, honestly.
A lot of their parts are overseas.
Well, probably.
Actually, I heard, and you guys want to fact check me on this one. Someone told me that Toyotas are more American built than the Fords and the Chevys.
I'm sure they are. But what Ford is doing now, if you can't, you don't have time to bring your car into the shop or anything like that, they actually have a mobile auto body shop that comes, or auto mechanic that comes to your house.
Cool.
From a Ford authorized mechanic.
Nice.
So if you're looking for a new car, maybe look for a Ford. I'm not getting anything from those guys, but I just kind of like Ford.
Talking about cars, you need 4-wheel drive over here if you're gonna drive around in the wintertime.
Yes.
There's a lot of 4-wheel drives out here.
A lot of Subarus
And SUVs and big trucks. There's a lot of big trucks. Not just
trucks.
for the 4-wheel drives during the wintertime, but summertime. You pull your trailers and your boats and you go camping and fishing and boating. So a lot of 4-wheel drives out here.
Those guys are always in the left lane too, going just the speed limit. No one can really do anything because it's a big old truck,
Yeah. Weather extreme. So we got the cold winters. I mean, it can get super cold. Not always. It does. We'll have a few days in the below zeros. Summertime, we've got a few days, sometimes weeks into the hundreds.
Yeah.
So pretty extreme from the below freezing to the over 100 degrees.
Yeah. There's an old saying here in Utah: you want to change in the weather, wait 5 minutes.
And that is a truth about Utah.
So true. You can see it raining like a couple minutes across the valley, and then you can actually like see it coming to you.
Well, if you're down in St. George area, it rarely snows down there. I lived in St. George for a while, which is right on the border of Arizona and Utah.
By Mesquite.
Yeah, so I lived down there for a little bit, and it rarely snows down there. But when it did snow, the 1 or 2 times I lived down there, it would snow in the morning, and by noon it was gone. And it was it was a 60 degree day that day.
What are we gonna do today? It snowed.
So, some extremes.
Yeah, they've never had a snow day down there.
Yeah, it snowed in Vegas. Was it last year? It snowed in Vegas for a little bit,
That's
and
'cause-
it was melted by noon again.
Yeah, it's because the world's coming to an end.
Finally,
It's
crazy world.
crazy. It's going to get better though. You watch, guys. Mark my words.
World's not coming to an end.
Not coming to an end. It's just the end of an era, so to speak, and start of a new one.
Yeah. Well, every generation goes through something.
They do, and our generation is kicking ass. We're going to do great.
That's right. Teach your children
parents
good moral values.
What's that song by Crosby, Stills and Nash? Teach your children well. You know that one?
Yeah. Sound just like them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Okay.
So weather extremes, we got the freezing in the wintertime, and then, but the nice thing though, the freezing in the wintertime, if you like ice fishing, a lot of the lakes over here will freeze over, and you can go out there and you can do some ice fishing.
Ice fishing's great. Like I go with my dad to Strawberry Reservoir sometimes, and the water there is so clear that when you drill your hole, auger your hole out there, you can actually look down and you can see the fish.
Yeah.
Like, by your hook and stuff like that. It's awesome.
Crazy fish in that cold water.
They love it.
So weather extremes. And then our last one, number 5 of one of the cons of living here is our limited nightlife. For a big city, Salt Lake City, we're pretty good. We're in this valley, we're around 2 million. Last time I checked, we're around 2 million in the valley area. Wow. Incorporate the Ogden, Salt Lake City, Provo, Tooele, the metro area of Salt Lake City.
Oh, it's spread out.
It's pretty spread out, but we're right around that 2 million mark. I'll have to double check that. You guys fact check me on that one. Let me know what the population is, but we're not small. So nightlife is not if you come from a big city, where there's just plenty of nightlife everywhere.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, not so much.
This isn't it. Ask any of the basketball players and professional athletes here. They're like, man, I cannot wait for an away game.
Yeah. It's not like we don't have nightclubs. We got nightclubs,
Anywhere.
but there's just a handful of them. Not too many.
There's a handful. There's a lot of bars and stuff like that. Let's go over some cool places to go. Like
what we're doing cons.
The nightlife.
There's no cool places. It's all cons.
Actually, no, there is a really cool place. Actually, next to where I work, it's called Keys on Main. You heard of Keys on Main?
You told me about that place.
Yeah. Keys on Main is this piano bar. You never been to a piano bar? It's pretty cool. You give the guys, they're playing the piano, some money, and they'll play whatever song you want. And the bigger dollar bill or 20 or whatever you give them, they'll play your song first.
And they'll play anything. They know everything.
They know everything. And it's usually a guy and a girl, and they got 2 pianos like this. And it's a live. I love listening to live music. And you drink. And I've only actually been there once. I'm not going to lie. But the one time I was there, there was a couple behind us, and they were hammered. They weren't drinking the 3% beer. I'll tell you that. They were drinking something else. But they needed a hotel room. It was funny because they were really getting into it more so than other people I've seen like doing that stuff in public. Everyone was watching them. Even the piano people were watching them.
Sounds like fun. I need to check that place out for sure.
Well, it's pretty fun. We all went there as
sounds like fun
in our group.
Sounds like my kind of thing.
Yeah, we went there with Marsh and Risa and Reese and Curtis and
Risa.
Sorry, Reese. Reese and Curtis. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
Well, Marsha does wear the pants in that relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
I didn't say that. I'm just kidding. Love you, Reese.
Right. I believe you guys are equal.
But yeah, not the greatest nightlife. We don't have any gambling here. No casinos.
No horse tracks.
No horse tracks. If you want to go to the horse tracks, there's actually the Wendover Downs over in
Wendover.
Not Wendover, sorry. Evanston.
Oh, Evanston Downs. Wyoming Downs. It's called
Wyoming
Downs.
Over in Evanston, Wyoming. You watch the horse races out there.
Go one way, you can bet on horses. Go the other way, you can bet on whatever.
If you want to hit the casinos, you can go over to Wendover. About an hour and a half drive there. You got casinos out there. A little bit of nightlife out there.
Oh, and they closed down the Salt Flats. I don't know if you knew that or not. I say that because that's on the way to Wendover. That's like a thing that everyone loves to do. Like right before you get into Wendover, there's a big rest stop right where the Salt Flats are. Everyone just goes out there in their cars and they go all crazy doing donuts and doing whatever. Apparently, not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, I think, there was a really big accident. Maybe not a couple weeks. Don't fact check
Had to
me
be
on
had
that.
to be recently because I just went out there not too long ago and there was people out there, so it had
So,
to be pretty recent.
So I think it was pretty recent, but apparently some people were out there doing what they shouldn't be doing, driving fast, and there was a huge accident out there, and a lot of people got hurt.
Kids.
And so now you can't drive your vehicles out there, but you can still walk. But
Yeah.
that's not really.
We
that
did
fun.
drive when we went out there. We drove our vehicle out there, took some pictures. It's nice. If you haven't been out to the Salt Flats, it's beautiful. It's salt for miles and miles from the old Bonneville Sea that used to be
as far as the eye can see.
We used to be underwater many millions of years ago.
Yep. Now the Great Salt Lake here is 10 times saltier than the ocean.
Yeah. So we did have a Bonneville, the Bonneville Sea, I believe it was called, that over millions of years evaporated and the salt stayed behind. So it left all these big salt flats out there. That's where they do the land speed racing.
Yes. Break the land speed record.
Many of the land speed records have been broken out in the salt flats.
And it really is salt. I got down on my hands and knees and licked it just to make sure. Not a dirty spot. It looked pretty clean, but I put my tongue on it and it was salt. It was gross.
And he didn't burn. He didn't.
I didn't shrivel up or anything like that. I didn't die.
And it is salt. Yeah, there's the Morton Salt Factory too. If you take the I-80 out towards Wendover between Tooele and it's just outside Tooele, there's the Morton Salt Factory. You can see big mounds of salt out there where they do the salt. And
so if you just want to bypass the middlemen, just go with a bucket out there and collect it yourself.
But we're talking about things. Those are good things. We're supposed to be talking about cons, remember?
Oh,
but anyway.
Too much salt is bad.
Limited nightlife. You got to go to Wendover past the Salt Flats to go to the casinos. Here in Salt Lake, I've kind of grown out of my nightlife years anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're younger and you like that nightlife, it's not like there's none. There's places you can go.
There's cool places where they have concerts. Saltaire.
Saltaire,
right?
Saltaire has cool concerts. USANA Outdoor Amphitheater has some pretty cool concerts.
I can actually hear the concerts at USANA from my house.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's kind of a ways away, but maybe like a mile and a half away. But if the breeze is blowing right, like I noticed that if the breeze is blowing toward my house and I go outside and I listen and there's a concert, you can actually hear it floating on the breeze.
It reminds me of when I was younger and we used to go sit outside the drive-in movie theaters and watch movies from the neighbor that was, lived right next to the movie theater.
Yep, that's right. That's right. See, now you can still do that if you can park on the side of the road and see, because all you got to do is turn your radio.
Yeah, they play it over the radio now. Used to be speakers you hung in the window, but now they tune it in on the radio.
Sit across the street with your binoculars with the radio on. Oh my God.
If you're really jonesing for a movie and you don't have a television.
I got to see this movie and I can't afford $3. But yeah, they still have drive-ins here too. They have the Redwood drive-in.
Redwood is the only one I know of now. There used to be one over in West Valley too. I can't remember. I remember that when I was younger too. There's one over in West Valley.
Man, I love the drive. I wish I was rich. I would. I would start a upscale drive-in.
Drive-ins are cool. I don't know how come they kind of faded away, but we still got one big one here.
Well, because drive-ins are kind of, when people think of drive-ins, I think of like run down, like old stuff.
Which is the drive-in we have run down.
Pretty much, yeah. It's been there since like, I don't know, 1910. I don't know. But yeah, coming up with an idea for like an upscale drive-in with like, nice booths. You can have a nice restaurant that you can go eat in there. And at the restaurant, you have the speakers by your table so you can look out the window while you're eating your steak. Oh, sorry. Eating your steak like that and watching. That would be great, don't you think?
Well, yeah. Well, there's, speaking of eating and watching a movie, there's a place over in downtown Salt Lake. See, Broovies. Have you ever been to Broovies?
Broovies. I have not, but I know.
We used to go there when I was in my younger days. We'd go over to Broovies and they play movies, and you're in a movie theater and there's the bench. You're sitting in your seat, and in front of you, there's like a little bench where you could order pizzas, burgers, whatever you want.
Oh.
That little numbers up in the corner by the movie screen. And when your number came up, it would light up and you go up and you grab your pizza, your burger, bring it back, sit it right there on your table. You could order pictures of beer and drink some beers while you're just sitting there in the movie theater watching the movies. Broovies. That was pretty cool.
You have to drink about 10 pitchers just to get a buzz. Remember, it's 3% back then.
Yeah. Well, now, but the thing is, you don't want to drink too much beer because then you got to start using the bathroom and you're going to miss the movie.
Yeah.
Or pee in your pants.
I don't really like to go to the movies too much. Yeah, but
depends on the movie. Some movies you got to see on the big screen.
There's some places that I think, like in Florida, maybe there's one in Vegas. Don't fact check me on this. I'm not sure if I saw it in Vegas or not, but it's like a swimming pool, like a huge swimming pool where people get on their rafts and they watch a movie. And
I saw something about that too. Yeah,
and all that stuff. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be kind of cool. Have your own little, mattress where you're not really getting wet, eating. That'd be awesome.
Well, back in Hawaii, they had movies on the beach. That was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, they set up the big old projector screens, and you pull your blanket out and lay on the beach and watch a movie.
Oh, well, yeah, it's around Halloween time, so this isn't really nightlife, but the other day we went to Cross E Ranch. You ever heard of Cross E Ranch? It's, where the flames burn? I call them the eternal flames from the refineries. They just burn off 24/7. Well, in South Salt Lake, there's this one where it's not the tall ones, not the tall stack that's burning, but the shorter one that's burning like a big flame. It's kind of right next to there, but it's a ranch called Cross E Ranch. And over probably the last four years, they've really each year they double in size, they move stuff around it. But anyway, they have these apple cider donuts that they make homemade there, and they're so good. And I have no idea why I even brought this up, but we went there the other day, and yeah, they have apple cider donuts. They sell their own beef there and all that stuff. So that's a fun place to go.
We're talking about a lot of fun places, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's the nightlife, I know we're trying to do cons.
It's like I said, I mean, I tried to come up with a con list, and I couldn't come up with too many because I do love living here, and there is a lot of great things here. So
pretty much the main things are the inversion, the horrible drivers, and the what else?
The alcohol laws.
I mean,
I've gotten used to now.
I don't get too hurt about the alcohol laws because
just stock your liquor cabinet. You're good.
All I really drink is whiskey. It's not like I start shaking if I can't have alcohol or something like that.
So not a ton of cons here.
So it doesn't bother me that bad.
Personal preferences.
Yeah, personal preferences. It does get a little bit cold here in the wintertime, but dress appropriately.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to get up in the morning.
Well, the funny thing about dressing appropriately, when we moved here from Hawaii, my wife had never lived in a cold climate ever. She grew up in the Philippines and then moved to Hawaii, spent years there, and we decided to come to Utah to the cold climate. The first thing she wanted to do, she wanted to go buy some coats and boots and scarves and
I thought you were going to say she shoveled the snow, shoveled the driveway in her sandals.
I wish. No, she wanted to go shopping. She wanted the fashion. She wanted to go get the coats and the sweaters and the mittens and the boots, and she can mix and match. And even her mom, when her mom comes over and visits, that's what she wants. She wants to get some nice coats, and it's a fashion thing for them, the wintertime fashion.
It's like they got to wear 50 layers, and they're like, oh my God, you look so cute, and I'm so warm.
Yeah.
But, yeah. As far as clothes go, my wife's probably going to buy, I don't know, 5 or 6 winter outfits at least, and she's got 20 already,
Women, geez. Every new event we go to, it has to be a new dress she's never worn before.
A brand new dress. Meanwhile, if you look back at all the pictures from the parties, you can see me wearing the same stuff over and
right?
over.
I mean, the guys aren't hard. We were black pants and a coat and a tie, and you're good.
I'm like, meh. I'm not wrinkled. I look good.
But for some reason, it's got to be brand new shoes. It's got to be a brand new dress. You can't wear the same thing twice.
Yeah, even when my wife goes to work, people only see her at limited time. And I said, honey, you could wear a different outfit all year, and you have that many. And they wouldn't know.
We got to do a pros and cons of marriage.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll save that for our 2 bald guys and a microphone podcast.
Yeah, and we'll have our wives there with us on that one. So that way we don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they can tell us what their cons are too. So maybe we can change it.
So anyway, those are our 5 cons of living in Utah. We can actually, why don't we break down city by city coming up in some of our other podcasts? We'll just talk about the city. Park City is a great place.
Park City is a great place.
We'll talk about Park City. Maybe we'll do into the southern Utah areas, Cedar City and St. George and, Logan. We talked about Logan before. Logan's a great place too. We can break down some of these cities and talk about the great things about them and, living in this area and the multitude of cities you can live in surrounding the Salt Lake metro area, not just the metro area, but there's plenty of places outside that.
You can travel pretty far in Utah in an hour.
Yeah. Well, you drive down to southern Utah, it's at least 4 hours to drive down that way.
Yeah. I lived in Virginia for 20 years, and from Washington, D.C. to the middle of Manhattan up in New York, it's 5 hours. In Utah, you're still in Utah.
Yeah.
You're barely past Beaver.
Yeah. Pretty big state.
Fillmore, you're barely past Fillmore and Beaver.
With beautiful places throughout the state. Speaking of beautiful places, I will be heading to Moab here in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, but the next weekend. We're going to go down to Moab.
You're going to mountain biking down there, huh?
Yeah, well, we're going to go just, get a trailer, stay down there do a little hike. It's actually next to the Arches National Park. So
Really?
Yes, it sits right there.
When are you guys doing this?
We're doing that not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Huh.
So we're going to go down there and
who are you doing that with?
Me and Rochelle, and then Rose and Spencer, shouted out to their group saying, who wants to go down there? We're going to go down there. So Rochelle said, we'll go with you. So I don't know about the rest. I know you work weekends, so it's kind of hard for you to get away on the weekends.
Saying that. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so we're going to go down to Moab, and I'm going to film it all for you guys. We're going to do we'll do a little, Moab video for you. See if you want to check out Moab.
That would be great.
As long as I've lived in this state, and I've lived here for a long time, most of my life, I've never been to Moab.
Honestly, I haven't either. I've seen lots
I'm
of
excited.
pictures.
I'm actually excited to get to Moab.
And all that. I've seen lots of Jeeps flipping over there. But it looks pretty cool to hike on, like all that slick rock and stuff.
Yeah. So you got one of the national parks right there. You got the Jeep trails. You got the mountain biking trails. And we're right in that time of year where it's not too hot, not too cold. We're in October right now, so it's going to be perfect weather. There's
actually next podcast next week we're going to talk about ghost towns and things like that. There's a ghost town around there called Grafton.
Yeah, ghost towns in Utah too. That's a fun one.
And
we got Halloween coming up, so that's perfect for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching our podcast video this time. If you think of anything that you want to put into comments, something we might have missed, something that you think we could talk about later on, maybe one of the cities you want us to hit next time, let us know.
Something that I lied about.
Something that, this guy making up all these stories.
Just making up all this
moving
stuff.
temples and wait till he gets into his alien stories.
They're moving the temple 85 feet, and you know how it's being moved? By aliens.
Thank you guys again for watching this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up. Much appreciated. Love y'all. Until next time.
Love y'all. Peace, and chicken grease.
Thank you.
Later.